Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Poetry of Painting. And this week, it's my great pleasure to welcome back to the show Reese North, all the way from Australia at some silly o'clock time for him. So congratulations, Reese, on being up at 4 o'clock your time in the morning for us. So welcome to the show, Reese. How are you doing?
Oh, yeah, quite good. Thanks, Fiona. Yeah.
You're
A little
very
bit
much
tired.
awake. Well, you seem very wide awake for 4 a.m. So I take my hat off to you on that one. Very good. Thank you.
I usually wake up these days at this hour. I think it's part of aging. I don't mind it too much. Yeah.
But hopefully you can have a little nap later on if you need it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Good,
Not on the show.
Preferably not. No. It makes it a bit one-sided if you go to sleep. So I could be tempted to join you as well. Which would be. I don't think we'd get many people wanting to watch two people sleeping on the show. No. Although I'm sure there are more, far stranger things on the internet that people do watch. So maybe that's a new show to have.
How many other people have time things around now?
The time differences.
Yeah. Just wondering how many different countries you've got of people.
It's mainly Australians, and then the rest of them. I did have a lovely girl from the States who was doing some of them, but she's become very, very busy at the moment. So she's not been doing the shows for a while. So we did have the States, which was not bad for her because it would be her morning, my evening. Everyone else is in the UK apart from Margaret, who's in Gibraltar, but I think that's just 1 hour difference.
Oh, okay.
And then all the other time difference poets are in Australia. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you crazy guys over there seem very happy to get up at some silly time in the morning to come and do shows, which is wonderful for me. Thank you.
How many Australians are there?
I think to date 5.
5? Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is quite amazing. Oh, Chris says, hi, Fiona. Hi, Reese. Hi, Chris. Thanks for watching.
Chris. Yeah, thanks.
So, Reese, yet again, you have pulled out all the stops and written another poem about one of my paintings.
Yeah.
So, shall I put the painting on screen? It's the one that's in the background here, but if I put it on screen so that people can see it a bit bigger. Chris is doing his Australian. You have to forgive him, Reese. He's saying good day.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Right. So this is the painting about which you're going to read your poem for this week. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how it grabbed you, what it was saying to you, and inspiring you to write?
Sure. Well, what I saw was, so it's a very sparse painting, this one. So it really demanded a different way of getting into it. And what I saw is the cloud shape. If you look at it, it's an upside down like hand, looking at the hand from the base. And I can see the fingers if you trace around the 5 fingers, even around to the thumb. It's a pretty, you've got to stretch your imagination to see it. And then it runs down almost to the right-hand corner there to the wrist, beginning of the wrist. So I see it as a hand, like looking up at the sky, and it's like and I think of it as like a welcoming. I look at it as like a welcoming hand coming into the new day as the sun rises. See, so that's how I got into that. And then I just imagined myself walking across those, because I dream my way into your paintings, and then I just imagine myself how I would be feeling about looking, and so those distant hills to me sort of represent the future, what I'm going towards. But of course, the future never comes. So we're always in the present moment, but at the same time, we're carrying the past with us. And to try and get into that Zen here and now moment is really quite a difficult thing to do, because I'm always getting interfered with by memories and thinking back, carrying the heaviness of that. and then looking forward to the future, and that interferes with that sense of being really completely grounded here and now. So I'm sort of thinking that way, and then moving through that sort of scape. And oddly enough, it came into two stanzas. It just fell together. Two stanzas,
Mm-hmm.
eight lines for the first stanza and 6 lines for the last, which is the format of a sonnet. But this is not a
Oh.
true sonnet, but it takes that shape. And and when you have the 8/6 line, that the 7th line, the first stanza of the first line of the second stanza is the volta, which is supposed to be turning over. The poem turns over and you enter a new sort of space.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of did that because the beginning is like what I'm thinking as I'm walking through the painting, and then the second stanza, the opening of it, is being into the moment exactly. But the first part of it does that too, by the way I'm looking. But it's more an internal impression while I'm walking in, and
Mm-hmm.
then looking forward is more of a physical presence in the painting. And also, when I say within and without me, it's a double meaning, and double entendre they call that. It's the morning opens within me and without me, meaning outside of me, but not with. Without, not with, meaning
Mm-hmm.
part of me is not with the morning.
Mm-hmm.
See, because I'm being interfered with. My perceptions are being interfered with, past and future. So it's that sort of mirror on mirror, reflecting back and back, looking into the moment, and then it ends on like discarding the idea of the future because I realise, that never comes. But what about the past? How much is that interfering with me being in the moment?
Mm. Wow.
That's how I was thinking when I was going through it. And to try and get that down on paper, well, you got to see how that works. Yeah, for
Yeah.
you. But
Wow.
that's my meaning. But whether that transmits to the reader or not is entirely up to the reader. I leave my poems completely open, and I'm more than happy to hear different interpretations of what they get out of it. But that's what I was thinking when I was going through it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
having told you that is really unfair because that we do that on the show. So because you like to talk about how I came about it. That's how I
Yeah.
came about it. But I like to hear the raw interpretation of a reader without me having told them anything about what I meant. Much better way. And it's so interesting to hear the different perceptions people have. Yeah.
Mm. The same with the painting. Different
Mm.
people will see different things in that painting based on, as you say, where they are now, their past, their memories, and their
Mm.
future. It,
Yeah.
it's everybody will see it in a different way, I think. So,
Mm.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I remember you saying to me once, Fiona, and I thought you said it in I don't know what sort of voice. It came across as though you were a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit apologetic that it's, you said, I think you said just a traditional landscape. And meaning, and to me, it sort of sounded as though maybe you would have rather it be a bit more abstract or something like that. But no, I think you do the traditional landscape's really great. And the fact that I can bring an abstract sort of response to it
Mm.
adds to the painting. And I hope I don't want to put that interpretation on you. It's just how I received it when you said it, and I thought, oh wow,
Right.
I think they're great because it awakens my love for nature.
Mm.
And brings me back to nature poetry because I write all different sorts of poetry. But I particularly love nature poetry now, and that's as I'm getting older because I'm tired of all the dark themes.
Mm.
I write about a lot of dark themes, and as well. But
Mm.
this has made me wake up to the present, to the beauty of nature, and it's a much better thing to ponder in a world like we've got at the moment, especially.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So, would you like to read your poem for us now?
yeah, sure. Just a short one. A new day begins, inspired by Fiona Hooper's painting of the same name, of course. Morning stirs within and without me. The open hand of a fawn-coloured cloud invites me into a new day. I embrace the moment and walk across autumn hills. In this instant, I am caught between my dream of future and the weight of yesterday. A cool breeze whispers through long grass and cuts a path towards a dark mountain, a distant place, forever surrounded by the deep blue silence of tomorrow. Pure and simple.
Lovely. Lovely. I really like that. It doesn't need to be longer, does it? It's just complete. It's lovely, Reese. Thank you very much indeed. And it's interesting that's sort of, because the location on which this was based, this painting, is actually over on the edge of Nevada in America. So looking out, driving up the hillside, mountains, quite steep, and found a place to pull over to watch the sunrise. And it was just amazing looking out, the distant hills there. And it was, I really love what you've written there, because it goes with the feelings I had when I was looking at that actual view, and then subsequently painting it. Because when I'm painting it, I'm thinking back, because I couldn't paint it on site there. But when I'm doing a painting like that, I'm thinking back to how did I feel when I was there? What was the weather like? Was there a breeze on my face? Was it cold? Was it warm? Were the birds singing? All these different things, and it helps to get me back into that place, to try and get the emotion into the painting as well as just a visual. So yeah, that was lovely. And Chris says short but complete and effective. Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. And thanks to everybody
Chris,
else who's watching, by the way. And please do feel free to make comments and ask questions as normal. So it'd be lovely to have you joining in. So yes, it's this one's actually not a very big painting. It's in oils as normal, but this was before I really started using knives for painting. So this is painted with brushes and just in a more of a traditional way. And it's only about a foot tall. Oh no, maybe a bit taller than that. No, it's about a foot wide and probably about 16 inches high. So just converting it into imperial for my Australian friends there. For continental people, it's 41 centimeters high and 33 centimeters wide. So that's about 12 by 16 in your terms. So yeah, so not a very big painting, but it just captured my feelings about what I'd felt and seen as I stood there on that mountainside watching a sunrise, which was so worth getting up for. It was just incredible. But with sunrises happen so quickly, don't they? You're waiting and waiting, and then it starts and it grows, and then it seems like no sooner has it grown and appeared than it starts to fade again. So it's really capturing a sunrise and a sunset, the same thing at that particular time. It's remembering the colors and the shapes and everything. So yeah, but that was lovely. Thank you very much indeed, Reese. So have you been writing much other poetry apart from I Know Secret? We have some other poems in the offing from you as well, but apart from writing about my paintings, have you been doing much other work at the moment?
Not at the moment. I've just been mainly focusing on your stuff because it's the nature stuff I've really like. Oh, we are in the metric system. We've left behind the old decimal.
Oh, I thought you were still like America. I thought you were still in each inches.
No.
Oh, you are. Sorry, right.
But
okay.
I know because of my age. I know both. And I'm always converting back to inches and that to really get an idea. So it's good that you put it into feet because I get it better.
Oh, well, if anyone's watching in America, at least they know in inches now. So that's
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I will do my best to remember that Australia's goodness, put the teeth in and start.
What is it? Yeah, what is it? Metric or is it metric?
Metric we're in
is,
now, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Centimeters, yeah. So good, excellent.
Yeah, sorry.
So what's been going on in your world? It's winter there, is it?
Yes, winter. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It's down sometimes down to about 3 degrees. You know, it's really quite cold.
Wow.
And
Wow, that's chilly.
yeah,
Not
and
nice.
and poems. I'm working on other poems in my head, but I want to write one about my mother because I had this amazing dream about mum recently. Mum's
Yeah.
both my parents are dead, of course, and my brother. Yeah, so my mother came to me in a dream, and she was so vivid and shining, beautiful. Because Mum had this wonderful looking woman with amazing smile, and she was just glowing with love, you know. And she was saying, what she said to me in my dream is, "Look, Reese, you're always looking, trying to work out what the universe is all about, why we're here, and all those sorts of questions." She said, "Isn't it miraculous that a mother's love has been born out of the universe? Doesn't that tell you something about the universe?" And I went, yeah, of course. I never thought that.
Wow.
And love, just love to be born. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that tell us about the universe? You know? And I thought, yeah, wow. Never thought of it like that. That was the dream. So I'm trying to capture something like that in the poem.
So do you sort of wait until it starts to form in your head, or do you try to focus on it? How do you start that? Do you let it just grow on its own, as it were, to start with, or?
Yeah, I usually let the images settle and I always go back and think a bit about it because then I know my subconscious is working on something. So when I start writing, the ideas will come a lot faster. But as I'm getting older, I'm much more deliberate about my writing now. Whereas when I was younger, they were very inspirational. They just burst out.
Yeah.
And I don't mind being more deliberate now because the craft is all so much more established. You know, you never perfect anything in the arts, as you know. Everyone I would understand knows that. But you know, I've got a lot more experience now, and I know how to piece things together. You know, within a week or two, I can get together a pretty good poem. But as you know, I go over and over and over it. But that's the fine points is what really, it's the details that matter. It's the small things that matter in all, even in human relationships. And in any sort of art form, I think it's the small things that really matter. And that's why I attend to them so much when I think I've got it done. And I never have, even in constructing it. I still go back over it, as you know. Yeah.
So for me, if I work on a painting, I have that cut-off point where I can't change it anymore if I've sold it, for example.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right. I do occasionally work on an old painting. I just reworked one a week or two ago, actually, that I'd looked at it and I thought, I don't know, it's got something, but it's missing something. And I just thought, no, it's missing light. It's a country scene with, you know, sort of distant landscape and a bit of a stormy sky. And with the stormy sky, yes, it was a bit, you know, the light was a bit dark on that day and so on. But for the painting, it just made it look a bit too dull, basically. So I decided, well, it needs a bit of light because there were breaks in the clouds, and you know, so the sunlight could come through. And it was only sort of fairly small adjustments that I made. I didn't change the sky and the clouds. It was just on a patch of ground and a few little buildings in the distance, and just adding that light just brought it to life. Which is, I think, a little bit like, you know, oh, I just changed one line, or I've just changed this word. You know, I just changed some little bits in that painting, and it made such a difference. But you know, once they're sold, then they're gone, and I can't keep changing them. But I guess with you, even if they're in a book, you could still carry on and change it because it may go into another book later on or something. Right, so that you don't have that. You don't have that final cut-off point where you simply can't work on it anymore with poetry, do you really?
Well, once the book's sold, once the book's sold, you can't. And once it's published, you really can't either. Yeah,
Well,
but
unless you publish it in another book later on, in a slightly amended format, you could still do that because you've still got it. Whereas once the painting's gone, that's quite final, really. So yeah.
I think once it's sold in the book, though, it's pretty well final anyway. But for posterity, for your family heirloom or something like that, you can show them all the changes you did later on.
Yeah.
But and if ever you became famous enough that anyone would bother to go through all your old work, which I doubt will ever happen to me, but it's interesting. Oh, who knows? Who knows what happens to posterity? It's
absolutely
nobody knows who's going to last in the arts.
No.
And there's so much poetry and painting and everything being done.
Yes, but it's all adding to that total amount of culture in the world, and it's all adding to the world. It's not that something that's taking away. It's adding and it's enriching people's lives, and and hopefully helping with things like mental health. By looking at wonderful works of art. I'm not necessarily saying mine are wonderful works of art, but to look at lovely paintings, to read wonderful poetry, to watch incredibly talented dancers, all of these different things, they all add to the richness of life, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. I always find the sort of competitive stuff I came across in poetry when I was younger, to outbest each other and be the best of the best, and I found that so tiresome and tedious. I didn't even bother. It was initially as a young man I was thinking that way, but then I just gave it up because I started to get attention and that, and I found it really irritating. So I just stopped, and I just, like you say, I love doing it, and it's great. Like shows like this, I put a lot of mine out on the internet, just out in groups and leave it out there and get all these different responses, and it's out there being read, and that's all I really wanted. And people are passing opinions and telling me what they thought and blah blah blah, and I thought, oh well, there you go, that is success,
Yeah, and every person will have a different response to every poem or every painting, won't they? And you're not going to please everybody all the time anyway, so to get some lovely responses is makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it, really?
Yeah. That's why this show's great too. It gives that opportunity to each poet. I'm sure each poet really enjoys knowing that it's going to reach a much broader audience through doing this sort of stuff, Yeah.
And having said that, if we have any other poets watching that would like to come on the show, just drop me a line and we'll see what we can sort out. So, because it's lovely having new people on as well. Reese, you introduced me to Lish, and sadly, when she came on the show a few weeks ago, I think they dug up her internet line in the street or something, so she was coughing on. But we're going to put that right. Her internet's working again now, so
that's good.
We're going to be putting that right. So I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, no, 6 Australian poets. I've just thought of another one. We've got 6 Australian poets so far that have been in the show or on the show in some form or another, and hopefully going to be coming back again as well. So, and all very different from each other, which is lovely. But then I don't think that depends on where you're, geographically in the world, wherever you are. But everybody that's come on the show has had a very different style of their own, and that's what makes it so fascinating to me, hearing so many different styles and interpretations of my paintings. And just a quick plug while we're here, that a lot of them, of the early ones, are in the book. So 41 paintings with 82 poems by 10 international artists. And I do have a new supply of the books now. I had run out, but I have a new supply of the books, and they're £15 UK plus shipping. So if anybody would like to order their copy, just drop me a line. And it's a lovely book with some wonderful poetry in from people, all these wonderful people who've been on the show. So And say, hopefully, in due course, there will be another book, because this one was done in aid of Alzheimer's Research UK and has already raised about £1,100 for the charity.
Wow, that's terrific.
So
well done.
If we can do the same with another book as well, then that would be just amazing. So
brilliant. That's brilliant, Fiona. I love it.
Every book sold, percentage, 20% of profit goes to the charity. So not only will you have a super book, but you'll know that you're also helping the fight to at least develop some treatments, if not preventions, and I'm not sure if there'll be a cure, but you know, to aid us in the war against Alzheimer's, which has got to be worth doing, because you know my family members have been affected.
Yeah, my mum.
And so you know, it's personal to so many people. So yeah.
Well, is that Standing Together on the cover?
No, that this one was called Beautiful Birches.
Oh, okay. Got it. Right.
Again, it is a few trees and some trees in the background, but yeah, I do rather like my trees, as people will notice by now. And they are so important to the planet, you know, with the carbon dioxide, you know, all the problems we have with that, and carbon footprints and everything. They help to really regulate that, and they're just so wonderful, you know, walking in the woods and forests amongst the trees. That's so grounding, and they're just so solid and there. You know, they're not pretending to be anything. They are the trees. They're just there. Just, yeah.
I've taken some great photos. I go for a really long walk around the back of my place, a big bush reserve. And I've taken some great photos of trees. I must send you some. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. If that's all right, if you wouldn't mind if I use.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some great, really good ones I've got.
Yeah.
Wait till you see them. People love them. I've just been posting them out.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I know I haven't been there in person, but they can still be inspiration for painting.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. All right, I'll put them. Well, I'll just do it on the way in our message room. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be lovely. So
it's easy. Chris good. I'll do that. I'll do that shortly. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you. Chris says, as the song says, there's nothing so beautiful as a tree.
Yeah. And that's the last poem I did on Standing Together, actually. I've done that one. I just focused on tree, and I called it Trees, inspired by Standing Together. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait for you to be on the show with that one as well.
Yeah, well, when my time's fair share.
Absolutely. But yeah. Well, get writing, everybody. Got to keep up with Reese now. He's forging ahead. So
I don't mean to do that.
No, go on, keep writing.
Yeah,
keep
I will.
Writing,
Yeah, I will.
Reese.
Definitely.
Yeah, because the other thing, what I'd like to do for a second book, hopefully it will be a second book. In this one, as I say, there are 2 poems for each painting. And it would be lovely to be able to do that again in another book, so that people get 2 different ideas and views about that one painting from 2 completely different people. I think it works really well in this one.
Great. Yep.
You know, because you read you look at the painting, you read the poem, and you see different things in the painting from what that poet has written, you know, what it had said to them. So I like that format. I don't think it's been overworked just yet. So hopefully another book to come.
Yeah.
So I shall be after 2 poems from different poets within my group here, and you know, about each painting, and to carry on that sort of scheme for the next book, hopefully. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Well,
that's what I like. I love it. I love about this that we can do the spoken version. You know, because I love hearing poetry more than reading it. I really do. I really prefer listening to it. I think I learn a lot more by listening, actually, because I don't read much these days because my eyes are a real bit of trouble with them. Yeah. And now I learn a lot by listening. That's why I love having this phone. I've got to make sure this battery gets right, because I learn so much off the internet. You know, listening to lectures and things like that.
Yeah, and it's a great resource.
And I've actually recorded reading all the 9 poems I've done for you, and then I sit back and listen to them, and it helps me actually perfect them.
Yeah.
Because I can hear it, things that don't quite sound right, but it's now they all sound quite good now. I'm pretty happy with them.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
And
Reese,
then
I'm really sorry, but we're at the
running
end
out,
of our
yeah, of
time
course.
already. So
Mm.
thank you so much again for being on the show with a wonderful poem. Look forward to having you back again very soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and come back next week for another edition of the Poetry of Painting. Take care, everybody. Thanks again,
See you
Reese.
guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.